Though it's true that some common trends tend to emerge more frequently among thyroid patients, the hypothesis of the thyroid body type sprang from this notion. You are not predestined to have a specific body type just because you have a thyroid condition. According to this theory, people with thyroid problems will eventually develop certain traits that they will share with other people who also have the condition. It even goes so far as to imply that in addition to having a similar appearance, people with this condition also seem to think similarly, have similar food cravings, gain weight in particular places, and much more. But to find out how accurate this theory is and how well it holds up in practice, let's examine the components of the thyroid body type in detail. The first claim is that people with this thyroid body type will primarily gain weight in their hips, thighs, and waist. While this is true for many people with thyroid issues, it is not true for everyone. It is clear from studying thyroid physiology that individuals with sluggish thyroids are more likely to gain weight overall. Nevertheless, the weight gain is typically not as noticeable as most people believe, and it's not always directly linked to fat mass. Actually, a lot of it is just water weight. If you have a thyroid issue, you should expect to gain an additional 10 to 15 pounds throughout the course of your illness. However, there is nothing magical about having a low thyroid that causes weight gain to occur in any one area of your body. Instead, weight gain is typically distributed evenly throughout. Some people may notice that they gain weight more in particular places than others. This is due to a combination of hormones and heredity. It is undoubtedly true that your thyroid causes weight gain by slowing down your metabolism, but other hormones are ultimately responsible for directing weight into particular body parts. Understanding where weight is gained on your body is crucial because it can reveal a lot about your hormone levels. You should always get tested to be sure, but the information I'm about to share with you can be a useful guide. For example, if you gain weight primarily in your lower body, hips, or waist, it's most likely due to imbalances in progesterone and estrogen. Someone also gains weight around their hips, thighs, or waist. In the comments section below, do share your experience if you have one. If it happens anywhere else, share your story to help viewers of this video understand how unique each individual is. The second claim is that people who have a thyroid body type ought to consume less protein. The reason this advice is offered is because thyroid dysfunction affects metabolism. While the assumption that some thyroid patients tend to gain weight in comparable situations may be true, this assertion has more to do with your conduct than your physical appearance. Since thyroid patients' metabolisms are slower than normal, this is one tip that is probably best ignored. Instead, they should consume extra protein. After all, maintaining your skeletal muscle mass requires protein, which, in contrast, accounts for 20 to 25% of your basal metabolic rate. About 50 to 60% of your metabolism is controlled by your thyroid, but 20 to 25% is still a significant amount that you can influence. Given this, it defies logic to ever lower your protein intake, which would only slow down your metabolism further if it wasn't your problem in the first place. My experience has shown that those with thyroid conditions benefit from higher protein intake rather than lower, and this is because muscle mass improves metabolism. The third assertion is that those with a thyroid body type ought to stay away from cruciferous veggies. Although this advice has some scientific support, it ignores the benefits and drawbacks of vegetables for those with thyroid conditions. Is it true that some vegetables, particularly those in the cruciferous family, have compounds in them that could prevent the thyroid gland from absorbing iodine? Yes, and we refer to these substances as goitrogens. This is because they have the potential to produce GOR, which is essentially an enlargement of the thyroid gland. The most common cause of a GOR is iodine deficiency, which may worsen if you consume these goitrogenic compounds. However, viewing vegetables through this lens ignores some of their greatest benefits, which are the bioactive compounds found inside of them. These compounds support the longevity of the immune system, inflammation, gut health, lutein production, and much more. If you approach the pros and cons of vegetables more objectively, you'll see that even though some vegetables may have a small potential for harm, overall, their benefits vastly outweigh their drawbacks. Now, wouldn't it be nice to be able to reap the benefits of vegetables without having to deal with any of the drawbacks? Well, it is possible. Steaming and boiling them before eating them can reduce their goitrogenic content by up to 50%. If that weren't enough, you can also outcompete the goitrogenic compounds in vegetables by simply increasing your intake of iodine. So, in the end, there's really no good reason to avoid vegetables if you have a thyroid issue, because it is truly possible to have your cake and eat it too. Claim number 4 is that thyroid conditions are primarily related to disorders, estrogen levels, and liver problems. This claim is blatantly false. Large population studies have shown that the autoimmune disease Hashimoto thyroiditis is the leading cause of hypothyroidism in developed nations, accounting for nearly 90% of cases of hypothyroidism. However, there is some validity to the theory that other internal health issues can result in thyroid dysfunction. If you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video. This is particularly true when considering liver health, as the liver is the primary site of T4 to T3 conversion. Problems with your liver may have an impact on thyroid function. Currently, there is a silent epidemic of liver dysfunction caused by non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which is brought on by an increase in carbohydrate intake and insulin resistance. If you have estrogen issues, you may experience a related but distinct issue. The protein that transports thyroid hormone through your blood is controlled by estrogen. If estrogen levels aren't kept within a very narrow range, this could have an effect on the amount of thyroid hormone that can reach your cells. Therefore, if you have a thyroid condition, estrogen and liver health are important, but disorders of either are not the primary cause of thyroid dysfunction. As for claim number 5, people with this thyroid body type will crave starchy, sweet, and caffeine-containing foods. This one is probably more true than false. But even if it is, the implications are rather meaningless because they only serve to confirm our understanding of thyroid physiology. That is, that people with thyroid disorders are more likely to develop insulin resistance, and that when this condition exists, the body finds it difficult to burn fat stores for energy. To put it another way, even if you prefer to burn it, it stays locked up in your fat cells. As a result, people with this condition, many of whom have thyroid issues, end up seeking sweet or starchy foods in order to satisfy their hunger and obtain an instant energy boost. Dependency on caffeine is also easily explained. Due to the relationship between the thyroid and the adrenal glands, it is common for people with thyroid issues to consume large amounts of caffeine. One of the main symptoms of hypothyroidism is fatigue, and people with thyroid problems have discovered that by consuming caffeine, they can combat this fatigue and experience even higher levels of energy. It is not a good idea to combine sugar and caffeine because, while the former may give you a short-term energy boost, the latter will only make your situation worse in the long run. Instead, you should address the underlying cause of your insulin resistance, which will enable your body to use your fat stores as energy, giving you a much more stable energy source. Claim number 6 states that people with a thyroid body type will have a distinct body form and size. However, you can obtain energy in the meantime by taking things like adrenal adaptogens or adrenal glandular supplements. Theoretically, women with this illness will resemble the following physical traits: lengthy legs and arms, tiny bones, a narrow waist and shoulders, almost the same width as their hips, a large or oval face, and a round butt. The issue with this is that there is essentially no data to back up this claim, and it is easily refuted by examining thyroid patients over time. I've seen hundreds, if not thousands, of thyroid patients, and they're all different in size and shape. If you'd like, you may compare those features to the dimensions of your own body to see if this is true for you, and if so, Please leave a comment below so that we can all see the differences. All things considered, I believe we can say with confidence that this theory of the thyroid body type is easily refuted. The theory may seem appealing due to its simplicity, but the evidence simply does not support it. The truth is that every thyroid patient is different, so treatment plans that are designed for one patient type may not work for another. That being said, there are some general guidelines that thyroid patients should adhere to if they have a thyroid issue. If so, I recommend watching the video below.